Welcome to this episode of In the Grove. I'm Jeff Franke. Today, my guest is Kathy Jarosch, brand new trustee for Elk Grove Village, which I'm sure you guys know the name around town. Welcome, Kathy.
Thank you, Jeff.
Great to have you here finally.
I'm glad to be here, and I'm happy to be a part of the board.
Good. Well, a lot of questions. People, I think they know you, but you're going to tell them a lot more. So,
okay, we'll give it a shot.
Well, what made you decide to, first, how long have you been a resident of Elk Grove?
34 years, 1989. And that's when my husband and I left our engineering professions and moved back to join the family business.
Yeah, which everybody knows. The business has been around as long as Elk Grove.
Right.
The bakery.
Right.
So, it's almost perfect. You're engineers, so you can engineer some great food. So obviously, everybody in town loves it. So that's great. So it was Ken, your husband's family business, and you got involved in it. So, what made you get involved in Elk Grove? I know some people may not know that you were a library trustee before you were a village trustee.
Yeah.
So what made you start to get involved or wanted to get involved?
So public service or running for public office had never crossed my radar. As you said, it started with the library position. There was a vacancy in the library, and one of the board members who knew me just asked, would you consider interviewing for the position? At that point, it was interview a bunch of people and make an appointment.
Sure.
I was kind of reluctant, didn't think I had the time nor the skills to do it, but it looked like a neat opportunity as she encouraged me to at least interview. From there, just being chosen and being a part of the board, I realized what a different outlet it was compared to my work, and how it was great to have service. And the more I kind of reflected on my family's history, I grew up in Algonquin, and small town, small community. My mom and dad owned a business in the community, and so they were always a part of the community. I had a grandpa who was the village clerk of Algonquin. I had a great-grandpa who at one point was the mayor. One of my other grandpas was on the Park District Board in Crystal Lake. So as I kind of reflected on that, I'm kind of like, I guess this is kind of my family's calling.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, and I've known who you are long before you were in the library, all that. You're involved in churches, you're involved in community programs, so you're someone that gets involved. A lot of us as the trustees too, everybody thinks, well, we got political things we want to do. It's not that. We love our town, and we get involved in the programs. I was in all the athletic programs, and that's where I got all my, if anything, smarts of how to deal with groups and that. But it's more of it's really at this level, it's caring about how the town goes, and not your own agenda or something like that.
Yes, exactly.
And so that's why when you were running for the library, or when you got appointed in the library, I thought that was great. And then when your name came up about running for village trustee, I'm like, that's perfect. So what made you decide to come to the village?
Well, that was a little more convincing. The library, obviously, you just kind of have one focus, the library. And when you think about the village, it's a bigger scope. Time commitment is huge. And again, it's just being asked to consider it. The mayor was over at the bakery, and we were just sitting around talking about the development coming in. He was visiting all the tenants in an effort to begin discussions about how things were going to transpire there, and he just kind of said, "Hey, you know, I think there's going to be a vacancy." Sam Lissner, at that point, had privately told the mayor that he was not going to run again, and would you consider this? And I'm like, oh my gosh, you know, what makes me qualified? And he just said, hey, you've got experience in government, you're a business owner, you've lived in Elk Grove, and as far as I can tell, you're not looking for it. You don't have an agenda.
See,
and political motivation, and those are all good reasons to think about it. So,
well, and again, you know, that's the nice thing about it. And you were kind of, I'm sure, scared, like, how am I going to do this? I know well, I can think way back when I did it, and you know, it's just like, there's no way. I mean, I've run football programs, you know, other sports programs with 1,000 people and all that. It's just like, and that was crazy. So how do you get involved? We have the best employees.
yes.
And that's, you know, what we don't know, and of course I don't know how to run all this stuff in town, but we also know to trust our employees, and we hire the best people.
Yeah.
And we just have to make sure we try to make the best decision for the majority of people.
Right.
It's tough. So if you can do that at home, trying to get everybody to figure out where to go to dinner at one time.
Right.
This is on a much bigger scale, but the whole
Yeah.
thing is we have people that do this job, and we work with them. And I think, did you feel better about it?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. When my husband and I are running the bakery, we have good employees,
Yes.
but we're smaller, and a lot of it just stops with us. And with the village, like you said, because you know, the tone of all the previous boards and the mayor and all that, they've really set up good people in good places. And so now I think it's, you know, making sure that those resources are being used to the best of the citizens' ability, you know, I mean, citizens' concerns, like, you know, not spending money in wrong places, keeping the care of our property, and now looking forward to the future as the village ages, right?
And well, it's been doing that for many years lately. We have a lot of things that need to be redeveloped, need to change, but for the best for Elk Grove Village.
Right.
And people keep saying, why are you building more industrial buildings? That's what this town is. It's an industrial town. That's what pays the taxes here. It's always been that way. It was built that way.
Right.
Yeah, and so, you know, people, well, you know, we wish we had this or that. Well, we do the best we can, but we go by the suggestion of people. But the great thing is that you have a different vision. I mean, we've been sitting on the same board for, 10 months now, 9 months?
Yeah.
Your priorities are different than some of mine, but that's why we need you to do that priority. My priorities were different than the people that were there for 25 years.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, I want to try to do something. It's like, nah. So the great thing is and Tammy Miller and also Joe Bush, I mean, everybody that's basically has different parameters that they're focusing on, which is great because, you know, the whole thing is, and people think, oh, well, we don't argue. You know we do, but that's your families argue with each other. I mean, we all love each other, but we all have our things, and at the end of the day, we all agree to have a unified front. And that's why I was happy when you decided to do it, because you're not a crazy person like I am, and we need somebody who thinks normally. So, well, we are happy that you did come on. Do you have anything, you did mention a little bit, but what might be your priorities in the coming future of what you'd like to see?
Yeah, I think helping one of the committees I serve on is the Capital Improvements Committee, and I'm on the Envision Elk Grove. And so, you know, I think our industrial park is really going strong. And residential-wise and community-wise development, like I said, we're facing changes, and helping plan for when opportunities become available. So as property owners or building owners decide they want to sell or they want something changed, is it appropriate for the village to step in and secure that property so that we can control the development and control the feel of what the future of Elk Grove will look like? We want to keep attracting families and people into our community. If we don't have a strong community that's going to be attractive to people, we become stagnant.
Yeah.
And that goes with our schools. Not that our board controls anything about schools, but we control, I think, the culture within our community, or the look of it, the type of housing, the condition of the streets, the services we provide.
Those are all very important things, and it's nice to know that. And again, you're younger than me and all that, and I like the ideas that you and Tammy Miller and Joe Bush are coming up with that are going to help us in the next 25 years or so. I mean, whether or not you're here for 25 or that, but at least the focus to make the village better. It's not to fix one little thing or that. I mean, you've covered the aspect of everything that we got to have to do to Elk Grove to make sure that we work well in the future.
Yeah,
So-
yeah. The other thing is what we're doing here, cables, Channel 6, and just trying to make more people aware of really what a benefit it is to our community. And I know the team here at Elk Grove TV is working hard at upgrading and doing things that'll make our programs accessible. And even though they are, holy cow, you can just go to our website and, click watch me live, and it's on your phone. But
It's the future, and we need
Yeah.
to, I mean, to me, it's still hit with one finger to text or something like that, but it is the future.
Yeah.
As much as I hate Facebook, I know that's a future, but mass media, things like that, where people can get, and there's still people out there that expect us to call them every night and tell them what's happening, but,
Yeah.
there's only so much you can do, but I agree. But the one thing about the people at EGTV is they promised me a screening that would make my face look like George Clooney. That hasn't happened yet, so
I'll have to
watch out for their promises.
I'll make sure that's in the budget for next year.
So you get involved in that. But you said basically what you want to accomplish, and I think you can probably do that. What about, is there anything else you'd like to say to the people that are watching? I mean, this is probably your introduction. I'm sure they know your name and all that, but...
thank you to the citizens of Elk Grove who are really passionate and concerned about their community. We appreciate their involvement in government and everything. The biggest thing I would hope that they would take away from this is, please, ask your questions of us, the trustees. Ask your questions to the mayor. Ask your questions to the staff, and be patient with our time frame to answer. I think today it's so tempting to use social media to jump to conclusions and get your information from fellow citizens. And sometimes the information is accurate and sometimes it's not. And so I would hope that they would just continue to put trust in us, come to board meetings, reach out to us, and I know it's our desire on the board to get answers. You know, I mean,
Oh, yeah.
the people elected us. We represent the people. And so we want to represent you at every board meeting. We want to have your voice heard to our staff and our personnel. And we want to help make the community better.
Well, perfect answer. Do you practice that or something like that? I'm like, wow, well, I'll vote for you. No, yeah, that's fantastic. And again, that is what it's like. I mean, we're around town. We're all around. I get people all the time asking me all sorts of questions. I even hold classes at the pavilion on Saturday. Well,
Really?
not on
Yeah.
purpose. It's just that people, okay, what's going on? So
Yeah,
this,
yeah.
because people just want information. But they're hearing it from us who are making the decisions.
Yeah.
Now, and again, most of the people that do this on Facebook are just like, what's going on? But there's,
Mm-hmm.
but they don't get the full answer. And we're not going to argue on Facebook. You never win on that.
Right.
So the thing is, you want an answer, come right up to us. Or
Yeah.
come to our board meeting, come to Coffee with the Board. Ask the question, and we'll give you our answer. You may not like it,
Right,
but that's why we do what we do.
right.
And the whole thing is, it's driving, like I always tell people, you got to make a decision with your family with 5 people and nobody can agree. Try 33,000.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
we're going to
Yeah.
upset somebody.
Yeah.
But, we all are, and I know you're here for the right purpose.
Thank
and you
you.
just want to make the town better.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that. I feel good that I can retire at some point soon, and and I'm never leaving Elk Grove, but I can just sit back and throw things at the TV when you guys do stuff I don't want. So
Yeah.
fantastic having you here today. I hope people know a little bit more about you. You still are a well-known name here, so but I appreciate that you got involved and look forward, obviously, to working with you for a long time.
Well, and thank you for your service. I mean,
Well, I come up on parole pretty soon, so I'll be able to leave.
no, the time.
Well, yeah, I grew up here. I've been
Yeah.
here 64 years, so
Wow.
I love the town. I'm not going to move, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of people. A lot of us haven't left.
I know. That's a compliment to all the
Well, all the people before us, and
Right.
all the trustees before
Right.
us, and the mayors and all that.
vision
Yeah.
of that
Yeah.
leadership.
But the people too. We have a lot of volunteers out there.
Yes.
That make these things, that don't want to get involved like we do. But that's what helps. That's what makes this
Yeah.
town the way it is.
And I hope that's another thing that, and I know we're trying to wrap up, but just people putting themselves serving, focusing on others, embracing our differences, but working side by side on a common cause,
That's what it's all about.
Yeah. All right.
Kathy, thanks again for coming. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Jeff.
We'll be right back after this. Welcome back. My next guest is Rowe, who is actually the station manager here at EGTV. Welcome, Ross.
Well, thank you. Thanks, Jeff. It's kind of weird to be on this side of the camera for me, but
It's very
great.
nervous for me too, because you could fire me after this interview. So I better do it
I
right.
promise not to do that.
Well, you're here today to talk about some changes here at EGTV and some new things that are going to be happening. One of them is we've switched some on-demand things around, so you want to kind of tell us about that?
Well, let me go back to the beginning, actually, which is we installed a new playback system back in August of 2023. And we were replacing a system that was long past its sell-by date.
Okay.
Yeah, I think is a good way of putting it. And so we decided that we were going to replace it. And we decided we were going to replace it with something that had some more features to make the channel look better and sound better. And so we did that. So we upgraded to what's called a Cablecast VIO system. It's made by a company out of Minneapolis. And it allows us to do a lot of different things. For example, folks may notice in the lower right-hand corner of the screen, there is an EGTV logo. and it is in full color, and it only appears when there's a program going, so it doesn't interfere with graphics or PSAs or things like that. It's there, when it's supposed to be, instead of being there all the time like the
Okay.
old one was,
I
and
guess.
sometimes it would burn into people's screens if they kept it on too long. So we no longer have that problem. It also gives us some other things. For example, you may have noticed that sometimes when we come out of the program guide that we run whenever our programming isn't on, a little strip comes up that says coming up next,
Right.
and the name of the show that's coming up, and that's something that's new. We still have emergency crawls, just like we always have, but it's much easier now to time those crawls, to schedule them in advance if need be. And of course, the biggest thing, of course, is that it makes the channel picture clearer. It makes our sound better. So it's taken definitely a step forward in the playback of our shows.
I noticed, I just went on the other day. I go on and every once in a while, kind of watch the Park District meetings to see what's going on with them and other things. And I noticed there's like a guide basically when I first go to the screen, and this is online on my computer.
Right.
And then I can go down below it and I see you've got it divided now with village board meetings in the Grove, Park District meetings, all that is where they're kind of all put together.
The way the system divides up the on-demand is what you're talking about. Makes it a lot easier for people to find what they're looking for. I do have to say that, because we changed systems, we now have to reload a lot of the old shows that we used to have, and that's going to take a while.
Okay.
So far, we've got in most of the village board meetings from the past 6 years. We also are working on the park board meetings, but everything we've produced since we put the new system into play, which was the last day of August last year, that stuff is all in the on-demand system now.
Okay.
And so you can watch it pretty much wherever you want.
Now, you're saying you're loading stuff from earlier than that. How are you going to be able to find or load everything that's been on demand before?
We keep copies of everything.
Okay.
So there are in our library some 8,200 programs, over the last 39 years. It'll be our 40th anniversary next year. And we have all of that. So it's just a matter of physically
Sure.
putting things in. It's
It's manual, correct? I mean,
we have to do it manually for the older stuff.
Yeah.
It's most of it is on DVD now. Everything from 2015 up to the present is on a hard drive, and that can be easily transferred to the new system. But the older stuff is going to take a while.
Okay.
So
there was something I wanted to look at from years ago, and I was like, I know we did it at this month meeting, but I'm trying to find it. I'm going back and back, and I was able to find it within the 5 years or whatever. But I'm like, what about something that 15 years ago?
well, again, we have everything. So you can give us a call, or you can email us at channel6@elkgrove.org, and we will add it to the on-demand for you.
So they'll do it. Okay.
So you can sit at home and watch it.
A lot of questions I get from people, because I say, you got to go watch the board meetings, you got to watch the park district meeting, you got to watch all the programs that we have for the parades and everything we do. They go, well, I'm not around, so I can't, watch it on Channel 6, even though we'll replay it. But there's other ways that people can watch these programs that we have now, and I think it's something. I know Roku, is it?
Yeah.
that we have? And is there a new thing going on with them, or how can people watch
We
that
have
channel?
several new things. Let me jump on the Roku thing
Sure.
first, because in the past we did have our own Roku app.
Okay.
We have a new Roku app. So if you've still got the old one on your Roku, you need to delete it.
Delete it.
Because if you click on it, nothing will happen.
Okay.
There's nothing there. So you need to delete it and then download the new one. The same thing, you just search for EGTV and then click on that, and it'll download the new app, and that'll take you directly to our on-demand system. But you can, through the Cablecast app, you can watch us on pretty much anything. Apple TV, Amazon Fire, doesn't matter. It's all available. It automatically brings up EGTV. Now, the first time you use it, it will show you everything that's available on it, and EGTV will be among them. And once you choose EGTV, every time you open the app after that, it will automatically go to EGTV.
Okay. Okay.
So
Gives a priority.
Yeah, you don't have to search for it every single time you open the app. We keep both a live stream on the app, so anytime whatever's actually playing on the channel plays.
Designed for the entire community.
We did a PSA about the apps, which actually is on both X and on Facebook right now. And so, but then of course,
Tells you how to get to the app. So I'm assuming you get it at the App Store or Android,
Right.
and then just download the app.
you can get it if you have an iPad or an iPhone. You can go to the App Store and get it. If you have an Android, you can go to Google Play,
Oh, okay.
and it's there as well. And you can just download it. It's free, doesn't cost anything. And as a result, you can see our programming.
Now, I know this app is only on these types of equipment, but say the content, if I went to a Roku channel, or the app, or my computer by going to the Village website.
Yes.
Or am I seeing all the same,
Yes.
same programs?
You'll see a link on the website. If you look on the left side of the website,
Yep.
you'll see a link for EGTV on demand. You click on that, and it will take you to this site.
I got you. But there's not more product or more shows on one than the other.
No,
It's all the same.
It's all the same system.
So you can watch it on your phone, your iPad, your computer, your TV.
Absolutely, wherever you want.
yeah.
Whenever you want.
Well, that's
Wherever you are.
that's true. Anywhere there's internet, correct?
Yes.
Or even pretty much can go. I mean, if
Yeah,
or
you're
cellular.
vacationing in Europe and you want to watch the latest episode of In the Grove, you can pull this up
I'm sure
and
they're
watch it right there.
probably watching this over there now. I would
Mm-hmm.
assume. Well, and like I said, a lot of people say, "Okay, I missed the show. I don't know." But now on your iPhone or your iPad or basically your computer, you can watch anything that's going on. And
Yeah.
you can watch live on your computer,
Yes.
correct?
Yes, we have both live and on demand, so you can watch anything, anytime you want. Don't forget that we also stream all of our live programs onto Facebook and YouTube and X, and we're also building a on-demand archive on YouTube. So you'll be able to go to YouTube and watch things from there as well.
Oh,
And we've got
okay.
so far we've got about 250 shows on there, and we're building that one up as well. It is separate from this, but you can go to our page, Elk Grove Television, and you can see a listing of all the shows that are on YouTube.
Is this manually? You have to do that too on YouTube?
For YouTube, yes. But the great thing about this system is for our regular programming, stuff that runs off the playback system, and by the way, the playback system also can record as it's playing back something. So we record the meetings, for example, the board meetings, we record them on the system. And this way, we don't have to upload them after they're done.
Okay.
They're already ready, they're already there, and they just show up. So it decreases the amount of time it takes for a new show to show up on demand.
Okay.
It's almost immediate, not quite, but it's almost immediate. So you could, if the meeting ends at 8:30, I have no comment about that. But if the meeting ends at 8:30, probably within an hour, you'll be able to watch it
Okay.
on demand.
Good, because there's been sometimes the next morning I'm like, did I say something like that? I want to make sure and go back. So I always pull it up and watch. I don't want to see myself. I just want to make sure I didn't do anything I wasn't supposed to. But, well, I think you guys have done a phenomenal job. Like I said, all these new programs. And I'm sure there's new stuff coming. I would like to probably talk to you again somewhere down the line soon about new stuff that's coming up. But I think it's good for the residents to get an idea because they do watch the shows, but they don't realize how much more they can get. I mean, there's so much stuff out there that if they're interested, and even when their kids were playing sports a long time ago, back in 8th grade basketball or something like that, they can go and pull these shows up in the future and be able to see it. So,
we have been doing junior high sports as well.
Yeah. Well, fantastic. Thank you. Well, thank you for letting me talk to you. Hopefully I'll be back next time. But Ross, thanks a lot. I appreciate you coming in.
It's my pleasure. And if anybody has any questions or comments or anything, we always welcome them. Again, you can email us at channel6@elkgrove.org, or you can call us at 847-357-4260, and we'd be happy to talk to you about it.
Great. Fantastic. I'd like to thank Ross, and I'd also like to thank Kathy Jarosch, trustee, coming in and talking to us a little earlier. So that's it for this episode of In the Grove. We'll see you next time.